All right, so let's talk about pagination. Um, so oftentimes we need to interact with the data in smaller chunks. The database can certainly store and represent huge amounts of data, right? The way we consume that data, or even us humans, or even in automated systems like an application that is interacting with the database, it can never actually manipulate the entire set of data, right? It's only always going to be working with a subset of that data, okay? A small snippet. Whether it'll be working with dozens of records at a time, hundreds, thousands of records at a time. It'll never be able to deal with the millions, right, the trillions, billions of records that you might actually have stored in your database. Right? Either just for presentation purposes, we like to be able to show just 10, 20, 50, 100 records at a time, and then ask for the next page, and then the next page, and the next page, the next 100, the next 100, for us to consume it, or even programmatically, just for the limitations of the CPU and the memory that you might have installed. We can only load so much in memory, right? But we want to give the capability of being able to interact with it entirely, right? So there's several operations that SQL allows you to work with to deal with this. So one of them is top. Top allows you to retrieve me the first so many records in a table, and you can specify exactly the number of records that you want or the percentage. Notice that these won't be in any particular order, right? It'll be just the first 10. Presumably the first 10 that were chronologically added to a database, right? But you shouldn't rely on that, right? That the records are in any particular order, right? Practically, obviously, they were added in a particular chronological order, right? But you should never rely on that. If you want an explicit order, certainly you would combine this with an order by clause on one of the columns. You can specify percentage. You can specify only the first couple of records. So here's just a quick example of using SQL top, where you have 4 records and you're asking for the first 2. You get just 2 records since there's 4. Those are the first 2. Or 50% of 4. It's also 2. So you get here all the fields in only the first 2 records in both cases. Again, in no particular order. In MySQL, they additionally gives you the capability of saying limit on how many do you want, right? How many records you want, and the syntax is, instead of top, is limit. And so it says, well, I only want that many records. So you can say the first 10 records, the first 20 records, and you can combine this with a start, and where to begin the record, right? So maybe you start at 0 and then you ask for 10. The next time around you start at 10 and you ask for another 10, right? In Oracle, Oracle does not have a limit. Instead, what it has is a somewhat equivalent way of doing this is with Rownum. Although Rownum is a little bit less powerful than limit. Rownum literally enumerates the records that come back from a particular query, gives them a number dynamically, and then you can ask, I only want the records where Rownum is less than 5, right? which is almost equivalent to limit. Right? You have now this virtual field that is added to each record, right? So that you can then filter using Rownum. But this is slightly less powerful than limit, since it doesn't work well when you combine it with other commands, right, like order or group by or any of the other ones, since you lose the original intent of what you meant by Rownum. Okay? And I have a couple examples on the limitations of Rownum coming up a little later. You can also use Rownum, within a range. Right? I want all the Rownums that are between 10 and 20, 100 and 150, and it'll return all the row numbers under that. Right, it doesn't work well when you combine it with other operations such as order by. So for instance, here's an example of a query that we're retrieving all employees whose last name is Smith. And once this query computes, Oracle calculates this virtual field, right, with each record, such as you have row num 1, 2, 3 all the way through 10, right? But notice that not necessarily the order of the row num matches the alphabetical order of any one of the other fields, right? It doesn't necessarily match. So the problem is that the order in which things occur, right? The ordering or the numbering, right? So here's an example on retrieving the first 5 records in the row num in this table, and you come up with the first 5: right? Clara, Deborah, Gertrude, Jeff, and Keith. And I forget, did we order? We didn't order, although it looks like it's ordered already. But right now it's not in any particular order, right? But we might ask for the order, and we say, okay, well, order by location, right? Notice that first and last were ordered alphabetically, but location say we add a new field called location, and we order by location. So what's happening here is that you first get a query, not the order by, right? And it enumerates the row num, which would have a natural number of 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. But once you sort by some other location, you kind of lose the value of the row num, right? Because no longer can you do a nice, clean query. Give me the first 5, okay? Because you want it ordered by this location, but number 2 might fall somewhere else in the order by location, or if you order by last name, or you order by something else, right? You kind of lose the value of row num. It would have been nice if row num would have been the last thing to be enumerated, right? That after you order it, then you apply the row num, and then you can filter. But unfortunately, the row num gets applied before order by, right? And we lose its original intent to use it for pagination. Okay, but nevertheless, we can force the order by splitting this into two separate queries, right? Where one might feed into the other, right? That we can force the row num to occur last, right? So then we can filter the row num, right? So notice that now if we ask for the order by, and we mix and match with between 1 and 5, right? We no longer might have the right numbering. The numbering is all screwed up. Okay, so we can force the order by using nested loops, where you first do the ordering, right? And once that is done, we can put that entire result and just give it an alias that can then be used by an outer query that is going to then add the row number. Right? It's going to add the row number that is calculated by Oracle. And now we have basically reversed the order of the operation. Right? We are first ordering, then we are calculating the row number, and then we can do the where and use the row number as was intended. Okay. It's unfortunate, right, that we have to go through too many hoops to recoup the original intent of row num. So here first we select the order, which feeds into an outer one, right, that then adds the row num numeral And then finally, retrieve the subset based on the Rownum 1 and 5. In MySQL, it's as trivial as just saying limit. You can say limit, where to start, and how many do you want. Right? So start at 5 and give me the next 10. Right? Then you can say, well, now start at 10 and give me the next 10. Now start at 20 and give me the next whatever. Right? Unfortunately, we don't have that syntax in other places. All right.